What if I told you that aging after 60 is not a decline, but a biological switch you can actually turn back on? Most people believe wrinkles, weak joints, memory loss, and low energy are inevitable after 60. Doctors call it normal aging. Society accepts it. But biology tells a very different story. Inside your body, right now, there are repair systems designed to regenerate cells, renew brain connections, rebuild muscles, and calm inflammation, even in your 60 seconds, 70 seconds, and beyond. The real problem is this: these systems don't shut down because of age, they shut down because of wrong signals. Poor nutrition, insulin spikes, chronic inflammation, nutrient deficiencies, and lifestyle habits silently tell your body to stop repairing and start deteriorating. Here's the exciting truth: when you change the signals, your biology responds. Telomeres can stabilize. Mitochondria can produce energy like they did years ago. Brain cells can reconnect. Muscles can regain strength. Skin can improve from the inside out. This isn't anti-aging fantasy. It's proven biological science. In today's video, I'll share 5 powerful biological secrets that help activate your body's natural repair mode after 60. These are not extreme diets or expensive supplements. They are simple, science-backed strategies used by longevity researchers and healthy centenarians worldwide. If you're over 60 or planning to age strong, this information could completely change how you see your future. So stay with me till the end. And if you care about healing your body naturally, subscribe to Care and Cure Corner. Most people believe that once you cross 60, your body simply loses the ability to repair itself. But that belief is biologically wrong. The truth is, your cells never forget how to heal. Every single day, your body produces damaged cells, worn-out proteins, and dysfunctional tissues, and it also has a built-in system designed to clean that damage away and rebuild stronger replacements. The system is called cellular renewal, and it remains active for life. What changes with age is not the ability to repair, but the signals that tell your body whether repair is allowed or blocked. Constant eating, high sugar intake, frequent insulin spikes, and chronic inflammation send a dangerous message to your cells: survival mode only, no time for repair. Over time, this shuts down deep regeneration and accelerates visible aging from the inside out. Stiff joints, slow metabolism, brain fog, and weak immunity. Here's the quiet warning most people never hear: even healthy habits can accidentally sabotage repair if timing and balance are ignored. Eating too often, late night snacking, or relying heavily on refined carbohydrates keeps insulin elevated, and when insulin stays high, your body cannot enter its natural cleanup mode. This is why many people over 60 eat less than before, yet feel more tired and inflamed. The repair switch never turns on. When the body is finally given short periods of rest from digestion, anti-inflammatory nutrients, and proper protein timing, damaged cells are broken down and recycled, making space for stronger, more efficient ones. This internal cleanup reduces inflammation, improves organ function, and restores metabolic flexibility that many believe is lost forever. But there's another layer most people overlook. Even when repair begins, it requires enormous energy. Cleaning and rebuilding cells is one of the most energy-demanding processes in the body. If the system responsible for producing cellular energy is weak or damaged, repair slows down no matter how perfect the diet appears. This is where many people unknowingly get stuck. They remove some harmful signals, but their bodies still feel exhausted, foggy, and slow. That's because the true engine of youth isn't just repair itself. It's the tiny power units inside your cells that decide whether repair can actually continue. And once those power units decline, aging doesn't just feel faster, it becomes faster. Inside every cell of your body are tiny energy factories that quietly decide how young or old you feel each day. These structures don't just produce energy for movement, they power memory, digestion, hormone balance, immune defense, and cellular repair. As years pass, these energy units become fewer and less efficient, not because aging demands it, but because they are damaged by sugar overload, oxidative stress, nutrient depletion, and inactivity. When this energy system weakens, the body begins to ration power. Non-essential processes like deep repair, fat metabolism and cognitive sharpness are reduced, leaving you feeling tired even after rest, mentally slow, and physically fragile. This is where a subtle danger appears. Many people over 60 try to push through fatigue with stimulants, constant snacks, or sugary energy foods. These provide temporary relief, but silently worsen the damage by increasing free radicals and inflammation inside the cells. Over time, the energy factories shrink, leak, and fail to multiply. The result isn't just low stamina, it's faster biological aging. Muscles weaken more quickly, balance declines, and the brain becomes less resilient to stress. Even motivation fades, because energy production is deeply tied to mood-regulating chemicals in the brain. The encouraging part is that these energy systems respond rapidly when given the right signals. Gentle daily movement, exposure to natural light, minerals like magnesium, healthy fats, and oxygen-rich circulation stimulate the creation of new, stronger energy units. When this happens, people often notice a surprising shift. They wake up with more clarity, move with less effort, and recover faster after activity. This renewed energy allows the body to finally invest in repair rather than survival. Healing accelerates, metabolism stabilizes, and aging slows at a cellular level. But here's the quiet warning most people miss. Energy alone isn't enough. As energy production improves, it can either be used for rebuilding or it can be stolen by a hidden enemy that silently drains vitality from joints, arteries, skin, and brain tissue. This enemy thrives even in people who feel mostly fine, and if it isn't addressed, it will continue to damage cells faster than they can be repaired. The moment energy returns, this process becomes more active, not less. And unless it's calmed, it will determine whether renewed energy leads to longevity or accelerates breakdown from within. There is a silent fire that burns inside the body as the years pass, and most people don't feel it until the damage is already done. This fire is chronic, low-grade inflammation, and it is one of the most powerful accelerators of aging after 60. Unlike an infection or injury, it doesn't announce itself with obvious pain at first. Instead, it quietly stiffens joints, thickens blood vessels, weakens bones, blurs memory, and dulls the skin's ability to renew. What makes it especially dangerous is that it feeds on modern habits, processed foods, excess sugar, poor sleep, emotional stress, and even long-term medication use, while convincing people that these changes are simply normal aging. As inflammation rises, the body enters a defensive state. Energy that should be used for regeneration is diverted toward damage control, and immune cells begin attacking not just threats, but healthy tissue as well. This is why people often notice swelling, aching, slower healing, and increased sensitivity to foods they once tolerated. The brain is especially vulnerable. Inflammatory chemicals can cross into brain tissue, disrupting communication between neurons and increasing the risk of cognitive decline. Even mood changes, irritability, and loss of motivation are often early signs of inflammation, affecting brain chemistry rather than personality or willpower. The warning here is subtle but critical. Inflammation doesn't always come from excess. It often comes from imbalance. A diet that lacks protective fats, antioxidants, and minerals can inflame the body just as much as overeating. When inflammation remains unchecked, it damages muscles and joints faster than they can be repaired, no matter how much energy or nutrition is available. This is why some people improve their diet, feel briefly better, and then hit a wall, because inflammation continues quietly sabotaging the repair process. When this internal fire is calmed, the body shifts dramatically. Blood flows more freely, tissues become more flexible, pain decreases, and brain clarity improves. Healing signals finally reach their destination. But here's where the story takes an important turn. Once inflammation begins to drop, the body becomes ready to rebuild strength. And rebuilding strength isn't just about movement. It's about restoring a tissue that directly controls blood sugar, hormone balance, and independence. Without enough of this tissue, inflammation easily returns, aging accelerates again, and the cycle repeats. This is where the next biological factor quietly decides whether aging slows or speeds right back up, One of the most misunderstood changes after 60 is the gradual loss of muscle, often dismissed as an unavoidable part of aging. In reality, muscle is not just for movement or appearance. It acts as a powerful metabolic and protective organ that constantly communicates with the brain, bones, and immune system. When muscle tissue declines, blood sugar control worsens, inflammation rises, balance weakens, and the risk of falls and fractures increases sharply. What makes this especially dangerous is how quietly it happens. Muscle can shrink for years before noticeable weakness appears, all while accelerating biological aging beneath the surface. As muscle decreases, the body becomes less efficient at clearing glucose from the bloodstream. This leads to higher insulin levels, which reactivates inflammation and shuts down cellular repair once again. Many people respond by eating less, assuming weight loss is the solution, but this often makes the problem worse by depriving muscles of the protein and nutrients they need to survive. Without adequate stimulation and nourishment, muscle tissue breaks down faster than it can be rebuilt, sending a powerful signal to the body that resources should be conserved rather than invested in regeneration. The warning here is subtle, yet critical. Even light daily movement is not enough if muscles are never challenged. Without resistance, the body has no reason to preserve or rebuild this vital tissue. Over time, posture collapses, joints bear more stress, and confidence in movement fades. This loss of strength doesn't just affect the body, it affects independence, decision-making, and even social engagement. People move less, which further accelerates decline, creating a loop that feels impossible to escape. When muscle begins to return, even slowly, the effect is transformative. Blood sugar stabilizes, inflammation decreases, and the body starts producing protective compounds that support brain function and bone density. Energy improves not just because of stronger limbs, but because muscle actively supports hormonal balance. Recovery becomes faster, sleep deepens, and resilience returns. Yet there is an important detail many overlook. Muscle growth and repair are tightly controlled by chemical messengers in the body. If these messengers are disrupted by stress, poor sleep, or unstable blood sugar, strength gains stall no matter how hard someone tries. And when these signals fall out of balance, they don't just affect muscle, they quietly influence memory, mood, and the speed at which the entire body ages. Many people believe the brain begins a slow, irreversible decline after 60, but this belief is one of the most damaging myths of aging. The brain is not a fixed structure. It is a living, adaptable network that continues to rewire itself throughout life. This ability to form new connections, strengthen existing ones, and reroute damaged pathways remains active well into old age. What changes is not the brain's capacity, but the environment in which it operates. Poor blood flow, chronic inflammation, unstable blood sugar, nutrient deficiencies, and shallow sleep gradually reduce the brain's ability to maintain these connections, leading to memory lapses, slower thinking, and reduced emotional resilience. A subtle danger emerges when people stop challenging their minds or assume forgetfulness is inevitable. The brain responds to neglect the same way muscles do. It weakens when unused. When mental stimulation decreases, communication between neurons slows and protective brain chemicals decline. Over time, this creates vulnerability to cognitive decline, anxiety, and even mood disorders. What often goes unnoticed is how closely the brain is tied to the body. Inflammation from the gut or joints can cross into brain tissue, and poor circulation can starve neurons of oxygen and nutrients. This is why improving mental sharpness requires more than puzzles or memory games. It requires supporting the entire biological system. When the brain receives adequate omega-3 fats, B vitamins, antioxidants, and consistent oxygen-rich blood flow, remarkable changes occur. Memory improves, reaction time sharpens, and emotional balance stabilizes. People often report feeling more present and confident in daily life. Learning new skills, walking regularly, mindful breathing, and quality sleep all stimulate the release of brain-derived growth factors that protect neurons and encourage new connections. These changes don't just slow mental aging, they actively reverse it. But here's the quiet warning most people miss. Even a well-nourished, stimulated brain cannot function optimally if the chemical messengers that regulate stress, blood sugar, and recovery remain unstable. Chronic stress hormones, poor sleep cycles, and repeated insulin spikes interfere with neurotransmitters responsible for memory and focus. Over time, this imbalance makes the brain more reactive and less adaptable. And these same messengers don't just control thought. They act as master regulators for the entire body, determining whether repair, strength, and clarity continue, or whether aging quietly accelerates from the inside out. Deep inside the body, a silent conversation is happening every second, and this conversation determines how fast or slow aging truly becomes. This dialogue is controlled by chemical messengers that regulate stress response, blood sugar, sleep, repair, and recovery. When these signals are balanced, the body shifts naturally into restoration mode. When they are disrupted, even the best nutrition, movement, and mental stimulation struggle to create lasting change. After 60, the signaling system becomes more sensitive, not weaker, which means small disruptions can have a much bigger impact on how the body feels and functions. One of the biggest hidden accelerators of aging is constant stress signaling. When stress hormones remain elevated, the body prioritizes survival over repair. Muscle rebuilding slows, brain recovery weakens, inflammation resurfaces, and fat storage increases around vital organs. Poor sleep amplifies this effect because nighttime is when most hormonal repair takes place. Even subtle sleep disruption, waking too early, light exposure at night, or irregular routines can reduce growth and repair signals while increasing breakdown signals the next day. Over time, this creates a body that feels tense, tired, and older than its years. Blood sugar imbalance adds another layer of damage. Repeated spikes trigger excess insulin, which blocks fat burning, fuels inflammation, and interferes with cellular renewal. Many people unknowingly worsen this cycle with frequent snacking or late-night eating, believing it supports energy, while it actually keeps repair permanently delayed. The warning here is quiet but powerful. When these chemical messengers are unstable, the body becomes confused. It no longer knows whether it's safe to heal, rebuild, or conserve energy, so it chooses the safest option: slow decline. When these signals begin to stabilize, the shift is profound. Sleep deepens, appetite normalizes, cravings fade, and recovery accelerates. The body starts coordinating all systems, muscle, brain, immune function, and metabolism, toward regeneration rather than defense. People often describe this phase as feeling aligned again, where effort produces results and healing no longer feels like a struggle. And this is where everything finally comes together. When cellular repair is active, energy production is strong, inflammation is controlled, muscle is preserved, the brain is nourished, and chemical signals are balanced, aging stops behaving like an unstoppable force. Instead, it becomes a process you can influence, slow, and even partially reverse. What matters now is understanding how these pieces work together and how small, consistent choices can shift your biology from decline to renewal, setting the stage for a very different future than most people expect. After 60, here's the powerful takeaway. Aging is not a straight downhill road, it's a set of biological instructions. And after 60, you still hold the pen. Your body doesn't ask how old you are. It asks one question every single day: are the conditions right to repair, or should I break down? Every meal, every night of sleep, every movement, every breath sends an answer. When the answer changes, biology changes. People who age well aren't lucky. They aren't genetically special. They simply remove the signals that accelerate decay and replace them with signals that promote regeneration. That's why some 70-year-olds walk with strength, clarity, and confidence, while others feel decades older. When inflammation drops, cells heal, and mitochondria wake up, energy returns. When muscles strengthen, independence increases. When the brain is nourished, memory sharpens. Reverse aging after 60 isn't about chasing youth. It's about restoring function, vitality, and dignity. It's about waking up with energy, moving without pain, thinking clearly, and enjoying life without fear of decline. You don't need perfection, you need consistency. One biological signal at a time. Start small, stay patient, and trust your body. It wants to heal. If this video helped you see aging differently, support the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing to Care and Cure Corner, where we turn science into simple healing strategies for a stronger, longer life. Your best years aren't behind you. They're waiting for the right signals.